Access Fort Wayne offers reflections of our community. Production facilities provided by Access Fort Wayne are a service of the Allen County Public Library. The views and opinions expressed do not necessarily represent those of Access Fort Wayne, the Allen County Public Library, or any other supporting organizations. For more information about creating your own television program with Access Fort Wayne, call 421-1250.
Welcome to Homelessness in Fort Wayne. We hope you all had a wonderful time celebrating the birth of our great nation with family and friends. It's important to understand that even during these joyous times, as we enjoy time with family and backyard cookouts, a quarter of our community is living below the poverty line. In this struggle with basic needs, with these needs left unmet, and without a sense of hope, poor decisions are made that ultimately trap individuals in a cycle of abuse, mistrust, and desperation. I'm Mary Angel Ayala, and I'm with the Homeless Coalition of Fort Wayne. We're an educational nonprofit providing specialized tutoring and classes throughout Fort Wayne. We're part of the Fort Wayne Area Planning Council on Homelessness, a group of organizations that serve the homeless population in our community. Joining me today are representatives from agencies across Fort Wayne serving our community. Please introduce yourselves, the organizations you represent, and tell us a little bit about your organization. John?
I'm John Nash with Adult Life Training. We work on the employment aspect, especially in the area of the thinking process, that is helping people to think in terms that will be productive and help them to get and remain successful in our community.
Thank you.
My name is Dennis Combs, Director of 13 Step House. We take in people struggling with their addiction of alcoholism and drug abuse, and to give them some sort of structure in their life and some skills, so when they leave out of our 6-month program, they'll succeed.
Thank you for joining us.
Hi, my name is Lance Stiver. I'm a Career Academy Facilitator at Blue Jacket Incorporated. And we have a 4-week training course that helps ex-offenders and other folks who have a barrier to employment to be able to overcome those barriers and then be able to help them find employment through our temp agency called Opportunity Staffing.
Thank you for being here.
I'm Rick Farron. I'm the Director of Communications for Northeast Indiana Works. We oversee the 11 Work One Northeast Career Centers in Northeast Indiana, as well as all the state and federally supported adult education programs. We serve more than 40,000 individuals a year and work with more than 1,200 companies.
Excellent, thank you.
And I'm Lindsay Cook. I'm the Employment Specialist with Hope House here in Fort Wayne. We cater to women who are chemically dependent and homeless. And what we do is try to just provide them for opportunity for self-sufficiency and to be able to take care of themselves in a sober way once they leave our environment. So,
Thank you, Lindsay. Right, Northeast Indiana Works, you oversee the 11 Work One, which is the heart of the workforce development system. How does Work One help our community gain employment, specifically amongst the homeless population?
Well, we have a variety of services that are available to both the homeless and those in other circumstances, and the vast majority of these are free to the participants. One of the cores of our programs is we have 45 workshops all of them free, that run the gamut from career preparation to job search skills to more specific skills like basic math and grammar and PowerPoint and Excel and speaking with confidence. I mean, the list is fairly long, but certainly these would be good workshops for anybody to avail themselves as they're sort of looking to either enter the workforce or develop new skills. We also prepare people for high school equivalency. Oftentimes people who have a difficult time finding a job do not have their high school diploma. We can connect people with an online data source called Indiana Career Connect, which is a listing of jobs throughout the state of Indiana. And we can provide career guidance that may lead to someone being able to access programs that would give them industry recognized certifications.
That's excellent, and a very, very great program, very great resource in our community. Questions for everyone. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, as of June 2014, there are 11,900 fellow citizens unemployed. How can we, as a community, lower this number? We'll start with you, John.
Well, there are a couple of factors that cause people to get and remain unemployed. In particular, my concern is with those who are generational social dependents. Situational social dependents, the people who are just temporarily on a run of bad luck, will generally get back because they have the emotional, social skills, they have the mindset that will permit them to get back into the groove.
Right.
A person who has never had a working adult in their family, and the quantity of these people is increasing every year in our community, this person believes more in fate than believing in themselves. In other words, they really sincerely believe that no matter what they do, it won't make any difference. And what we need to do first is show them that they really can have a job and that the decisions they make today really do affect what will happen to them tomorrow. And that it isn't just a matter of fate, that they can have faith in themselves and in their actions and have a better life that way.
Exactly. Thank you. Alex?
What we do at the 13 Step House is, like I say, for alcoholics and addicts trying to recover. With that in their life, there's no chance to have any long-time employment, and they just get lower and lower in their addiction, and that's what we try to do is improve their life with the program that we implement, and they get the skills, the confidence back in their life, to get back on track. I've seen them go down a spiral, and just don't have anything, and trying to build that work record back up.
Having support is essential.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Well, with nearly 12,000 folks unemployed, that means we need to have 12,000 jobs available for them, and part of that is to attract those businesses is going to have to be related to a low crime rate in Fort Wayne. Blue Jacket is taking a stab at that in that we are working with folks, specifically allowing ex-offenders to come to our program to be able to help them find employment so that they don't have to turn back to whatever crime they had committed before in order to, in their desperation, to be able to support their family and themselves. So every time that we're able to help someone find employment, it not only helps that family, but it lowers the crime rate, which makes Fort Wayne more attractive to potential businesses.
Exactly. Yeah, Blue Jacket has a great model, and it helps a lot of individuals seek help. And that's what we're calling out to the community today, to participate and help the entire community. Because when they help each other, everyone wins.
Sure.
Two things. One, I think we need to enhance the skills of people at two levels. One is we really need some enhancement in soft skills. What we're hearing from employers is that the whole concept of work ethic that some of us may have grown up with has sort of disappeared. And so we need to bring people along, and that has to do with showing up on time, having responsibility, having accountability. I mean, these are the kind of very foundational skills that employers are looking for and are saying in some cases seem to be absent. The other is that we have to increase the skills of people for industry recognized in demand jobs. And so that's going to require some more education, some more training. The workforce is getting more high-tech, more sophisticated, and so it's not a workforce, generally speaking, if you want family-sustaining jobs, where you can just go in without a high school diploma or without any training or without any education. So I think on both of those levels, we need to find ways of increasing the skills of people.
Exactly, and we encounter that issue a lot. We find individuals who have outdated skills, and we just need programs that keep
even for people who have had jobs before, the whole idea of what you put on your resume is really important.
Yes.
And to that end, there's a new program that just came out this spring called Ready to Rent that Work One is working with, and you're familiar with that.
Yes.
And basically what that does is that could provide subsidized rental assistance for up to a year. But these people are referred by the homeless shelters. And they're required, this is why I brought up resumes, they're required to take 2 workshops at Work One. One of them is identifying skills that they already have that they might be able to capitalize on. The other is on resume development. And developing resumes is constantly changing. So even if you've been in the workforce for 30 or 40 years, you probably need to take a look and see what kinds of things do you need to put on a resume that employers are looking for.
Exactly. Yes, we also collaborate with the City of Fort Wayne for the Ready to Rent program. I think it's an excellent program combining employment, housing, and we provide the educational support needed. And in all, we hope to create well-rounded individuals that be an asset to the community.
Well, I think another thing is that a lot of our clients have either perceived or actual barriers that really cause them to struggle with feeling like they would be able to become employed. Lance, like you talked about, the criminal background is huge. Some of them have small criminal backgrounds or large criminal backgrounds, and they feel defeated before they even start. So part of it is kind of teaching them how to overcome those barriers, whether they are criminal background, lack of education. A lot of them have transportation and childcare barriers, some of these things that a lot of us take for granted because we have a support system that a lot of our clients don't. And kind of getting them back on track with that whole self-esteem aspect. Once you've, say, incurred a certain charge or found that, 10 years ago, a lack of GED wasn't as big of a deal as it is today, and they're feeling like some of those things are insurmountable, connecting them to resources in the community that allow them to maybe overcome some of those things, gain back some self-esteem, and feel like they are marketable to different jobs in our community.
Excellent. Thank you, Lindsay. And you brought up an excellent point. We need to build up individuals, and that is as a community. And Don, Dennis, and Lance both brought it up that individuals start inside, and Rick brought up the issue of the skills. So we as a community have to come together and build up the individuals. It's our duty to provide the support system that they lack. John, your training programs develop confidence, hope, and self-empowerment in clients through computer job skills and life skills. How do these skills benefit individuals seeking employment?
Well, the way that we approach things, we use formal instructor classes, we use self-paced learning, we use the Department of Workforce Development WIN system, and very importantly, through all of this, we use one-on-one mentoring. Hard skills are something that's easily quantified. An employer can say, well, where did you score on a WorkKeys assessment for locating information? Where did you score for basic math? That's a hard skill. You can measure that with a multiple guess test and get a number. Soft skills are what prevent people from remaining employed once they pass the initial assessment and get a job. And what happens a lot of times is a person will invest a great deal of their time and life and emotional energy in, say, obtaining their college degree. Maybe they get an associate degree in nursing, and they lose the job the first week because their Aunt Betsy needed somebody to watch their kids, and so the second day of their job, they just watched Aunt Betsy's kids, and it never occurred to them to call work and say, "Oh, I have a family emergency. I'm not gonna be there today." It's a soft skill. How you relate to other people, how you treat other people, your middle class work ethic, your middle class work thinking is very different than what is developed in poverty class. And the natural result of this then is when a person is trying to move out of poverty class and become employed, there is such cultural shock, friction, that they feel that a person can never get ahead. They're always going to be held back. Somebody somewhere will always make sure they can't have that job, even if they've earned it and put all this work into it. And working on the soft skills, helping people understand what the expectations are in the workplace so that they don't go through this kind of rejection and loss, that is a big part of what we do. I can talk about computer classes, I can talk about techniques, I can tell you how to download free manuals and all that stuff. You can get off our website if you wanted to and pull that down. In the context we have here, the most important thing we can discuss is the need for a change in thinking in the community and in the individuals that need to move up and become empowered to actually have a real place in the community instead of being relegated to some invisible echelon off somewhere that nobody wants to look at them or see them or talk at them. The solution to homelessness, the solution to poverty, is not to put spikes in the sidewalk so people can't lay down and sleep at night. The solution is to help people with their thinking and then provide them the necessary skills and training and sometimes medical help so that they can get out of the trouble they're in and take their place with the rest of us in a significant functioning social structure. If we don't deal with this, it's only going to get worse. As a community, we can no longer afford to just turn a blind eye to this and say it's 1 or 2%, because it's not 1 or 2%. It's up above 10% now. Up above 24% are on food stamps. And unless we change the way we as a community think, it's not going to get better. It's only going to get worse.
Exactly, and thank you. That's an excellent transition to our next point. Social cohesion is defined as trusting neighbors, talking to and helping neighbors, according to National Conference on Citizenship. Additionally, data shows that communities with high social cohesion have lower unemployment rate when compared to those which do not. How is this reflected in Fort Wayne? How do you believe that?
Well, years ago, Fort Wayne was built on union labor. People took pride in what they made. They reasonably expected lifetime employment as long as they did the job they were supposed to do. And there was a sense in the community that is gone today. Years ago, people were considered to be a company's most valuable asset. Today, decisions are based upon expected short-term gain, and people don't matter. This is aggravated by moving society from a manufacturing economy to a service economy in which many formerly productive people and less educated young people coming into the economy now are simply not capable of participating. We used to use things and love people. Now we use people and love things.
Yeah, and we have to change our mindset, and that's an excellent point to bring up.
The business decisions that came from this culture of self-over community have resulted in substantial unemployment.
Yes, thank you.
I agree with what he said. I can't say it much better than what he said.
It is an excellent point.
I'll say that cohesion is strengthened when the crime rate is lowered. And so again, it comes back to helping people figure out a different path other than having to turn to desperation that results in crime. And so being able to tackle that will help knit us as a community together more.
Thank you.
I would say, not to be disagreeable, but I would say I think Northeast Indiana has made great strides in having a much more collaborative approach to issues, especially with workforce development and economic development. and also in interaction with employers. So I'm a little more optimistic down the road for the region. Granted, there's a lot of work to be done. You know, Allen County, Northeast Indiana, we have a whole slew of organizations doing great things. And I think we're beginning to see those organizations pull together. We have a lot of work to do in that regard. So I think as we are able to interconnect with each other more, I think you're going to see improvement in a lot of areas, particularly this one.
Exactly. I completely agree with you, Rick. The Homeless Coalition is a fairly new educational nonprofit, and coming into Indiana, we saw the community collaborated. Our program works from these collaborations. Without them, we would not be able to operate. So I have that optimistic view.
And I
as
think
well.
the timing for this right now, as this show is being taped, is really critical that the organizations come together. And here's why. There are literally at this very moment hundreds of manufacturing jobs that are going unfilled. Granted, many of them are in the outlying areas, which for some people can create transportation problems.
Right.
But the dearth of candidates for jobs right now, you know, we went from a recession where if someone said to you, I can't find a job, it was believable. If someone says they can't find a job now, it's hard to believe that. But there may be issues involved in that. There may be transportation issues. There may be other issues involved. But we are sorely hurting right now in the manufacturing sector for work. So there's work.
Right.
We need to figure out how do we get people into those positions who can be successful in those jobs.
Thank you.
I think also through collaboration and through a lot of the clients that we work with becoming employed, we start to lower that stigma that's attached to homelessness and to criminal backgrounds and substance abuse. Some people still have an idea in their mind of what, you know, an addict looks like, or someone who's homeless, which we all know that those people look like us and look like look like everyone. And so when we start to get people who maybe have strong criminal backgrounds, when they become employed and show that just because they've made a poor decision doesn't dictate the kind of worker that they are, when we start to show companies that, then they become more apt to want to work with those kind of clients. So when we start to teach our clients how to be a good positive role model, it kind of trickles down for people that come after them. So.
Thank you, Lindsay. And Hope House is a transitional living facility for homeless, chemically dependent women. Through employment training, many residents find and maintain employment. What are some specific areas you work on?
I specifically work with employment. Obviously, we offer other services other than that at Hope House. But the first thing we do, the first 30 days that the women are at Hope House, we do some pretty intensive, training. 3 days a week we offer groups for 3 hours. They're required to be up, dressed and ready by 8 a.m., dressed as if they were going to an interview, and we kind of provide an employment training ground for them. This is something that people who have been in addiction and are used to sleeping all day and not getting up and being ready, it's something that you have to practice in order to be prepared. We teach them some of the soft skills that maybe they're lacking or they just need refreshed in. We make sure that everyone has a resume. We address what some of their barriers are, which are typically, like we spoke about earlier, educational and criminal background barriers.
Right.
And then we teach them how to search effectively. Unfortunately, there are some places that will be off limits depending on certain backgrounds. But I think it's really important that we teach our residents to be positive about the situation. And so if they don't know and they're just putting out tons of applications, then they might be applying to places that will give them a negative feel about their job search. So we'd rather them look in areas that would be positive for them. But we teach them. We have a small business called Beads of Hope that teaches the women how to make jewelry, but it also teaches a lot of other aspects of business.
Right.
We do marketing, they do inventory, they do production, quality control, all these things that are really transferable to other jobs, whether it be a factory or a retail setting or whatever it may be. that kind of hone those skills for them. So really we want to make sure after that first 30 days that everyone is really prepared to go out, that they feel good about the way that they're dressed, that they have a resume that they can present that most of them have really never had before, and that they have the ability to go through an interview. We do mock interviews as well. The more practice, the better, I think, on that sort of thing.
Yeah, of
because it's not always a comfortable thing to do, but when you practice it, then they're ready to go into an interview and talk about some of those things that aren't fun to talk about.
Exactly. And we've seen the transformation. Hope House is an excellent partner, and we've seen the transformation from when the ladies got to Hope House in 30 days, 2 months, and it's amazing what building up a person can do. And then it starts from the inside, and then working on every skill, every aspect of their life. Thank you, Lindsay. Dennis, 13-Step House provides a safe and secure environment where people recovering from substance abuse may reside. How do collaborations with other community organizations aid in this vision?
It's vital. We probably the last 5 years we've really enhanced that, knowing that we can't just do it by ourselves. We need help, and found out that other organizations needs our help to achieve the ultimate goal,
Right.
whether it's addiction, homeless, hunger, or whatever. We work with the Love and Deed Share House. That's where we buy our paper products for a very cheap price, which saved us a lot of money for a nonprofit that does not seek out state and federal money. To our bottom dollar, it means a lot. And in turn, we take a gentleman or two to do volunteer work on Tuesday. Same with the mustard seed. So Susie calls us, needs some men to help unload maybe a big load. We've got plenty of men to do that.
Right.
And in return, our residents, when they successfully complete our program and they're ready to get their first apartment, which they do not have anything, they're able to, Mr. Seed's able to provide them a couch, chair, kitchen, and a great organization. Community Harvest Food Bank is essential for the bottom dollar of our food cost.
Right.
Work with DAC, Drug Court, Allen County Community Corrections, other halfway houses,
Yes.
Hope House.
Collaboration.
We need some men to carry this up the stairs, you know,
Exactly.
and we don't have a problem about doing that. They're actually our neighbors.
Exactly.
The Freedom House, the Serenity House, we collaborate.
We all working together.
We do
can
have some.
Become a stronger community.
We do have some people who wants to bounce from halfway house to halfway house and not pay bills, and so we kind of stay tight with that.
Yeah. Thank you, Dennis. Lance, Blue Jacket was created in 2003 after a pilot project of Allen County Community Corrections to address critical and unmet needs to ex-offenders. Would you tell us how your 60-hour training program helps adults facing barriers to employment?
Sure. A criminal background can be a very large barrier for someone if they have no idea how to explain that to an employer on an application or in an interview. In the last couple of years, we've also opened our services up to non-offenders as well. So, but in that, our training, as has been spoken about, we give up people an opportunity to immerse themselves in the middle-class work ethic culture that they're so unaccustomed to. So our training, 3 hours a day, we don't just tell them about how to dress and what their attitude should be and how to be on time. We expect it. Right. And we give them an opportunity to practice that. And there we hold them accountable. There's consequences, but yet we're mercy driven. We're trying to work with people to try to help them see what culture they're entering into, what they're walking into. And so by holding people accountable to be on time, we don't allow them to be a minute late, or there's a consequence. They have to show up on dress business professional, and some say, well, I'm homeless or I don't have access to that. We provide clothes for them for free in our clothing store. We also demand that they have all of their assignments complete 100%. Now, up to 50% of our clients haven't obtained a GED yet, and so therefore our program is not based on an education level. It's based on motivation. So if someone is motivated to try to find answers, that counts. We'll take that. But someone who just has an excuse and says, "I can't do this,"
Yes,
that
and
doesn't
building
work.
up
Yes, and
the
so
individual
through an opportunity to be able to gain that trust with the person and to be able
Right.
to speak into their lives across 4 weeks. By the end, they walk away with a new hope, confidence that I think many of the